All right, so let's start our flashcards for our core documents for the course. I've actually made a slideshow here so we can go through each of the documents and have a little more space to put a few of the key things you need to know about each one on your flashcard. So on the left here, we have the flashcard. The first document is the Declaration of Independence. This was clearly studied in our first unit on constitutional origins. The key thing you need to know about the Declaration of Independence, in addition to the fact that historically speaking, it simply declared independence of the United States from the British, is the fact that it underlies or has some underpinnings to the U.S. political system philosophically. Limited government is the core idea that we need to talk about with regards to the Declaration of Independence. There's three things that we can connect to the idea that the U.S. government is going to be limited. It's not going to have unlimited power. It's not going to be a monarchy. And these ideas are embodied in the Declaration of Independence. First is natural rights. Thomas Jefferson really echoes John Locke when he says that all men are created equal and they have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Locke had said that they had the right to life, liberty, and property. So these are rights that people are born with. And this is something that is going to be at the core of American philosophy towards limitations on government. These natural rights can't be taken away. Second, we have the idea of popular sovereignty. Sovereignty meaning power, and popular meaning the people. So power comes from the people themselves in the American political system, and this is a philosophical idea that is embedded in the Declaration of Independence. It says the people have basically the right to govern themselves, and when the government is not holding up its end of the bargain, then the people can overthrow that government. And what is that bargain? Really, it's a social contract, which is another philosophical idea that the people themselves give up some of their natural rights in the state of nature, and in return, they get basic protections from the government so that we don't have anarchy. In the Declaration of Independence, Jefferson's arguing that the king has not held up his end of the bargain, is infringing upon rights, and is acting in a way that is opposed to these philosophical beliefs. The Declaration of Independence does not create a government, but it lays a groundwork for the ideological ideas in the government, the philosophical underpinnings of the limited government philosophy in the American political system. Our second document is the Articles of Confederation. You obviously need to know the historical context to the Articles of Confederation. I'm not going to talk all about that here. We'll talk about it in other videos, and we certainly talked about it in the course. What you need to know, first of all, this is in our first unit, constitutional origins, constitutional underpinnings. And you need to understand the structure of government that the Articles set up, what its key provisions were, and most importantly, what its weaknesses are. Because its weaknesses basically highlight things that are going to end up, for the most part, in the United States Constitution in its final form. So its key components, it creates a single legislative branch, but there are a lot of things that are not in it, and there are a lot of things that it can't do. So it doesn't have any power to tax directly. It doesn't have any permanent judicial branch. It doesn't have any chief executive to enforce the law. It doesn't have the power to raise a military. There's no power to regulate interstate commerce. It is extremely difficult to modify. They need a unanimous vote to modify, which is virtually impossible. And it's also extremely difficult to pass any piece of legislation. 9 out of 13 are required to do that. So the Articles of Confederation, we talked about in the other videos, and we'll talk about, you have resources related to it in our course of study. It really is not adequate to solve the issues that the new country faced. You see Shays' Rebellion occur. You see a crumbling economy occur. And so the Constitutional Convention is called to really address the weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation. So those are our first two documents. They're really important if you get asked to use either of these documents in an essay of some sort, or if you get multiple choice questions about it. I think some of these core ideas could really help you understand how to answer those questions. So we'll stop here and continue in the next video.